Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I am realizing I need to do a new countdown. Uh, I don't. Hi. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Bark a Lot. I'm still getting used to the rebrand. And of course, I did the thing that I usually do, which is I sat down and I had a game plan, and then I tried to fix something, and luckily for you and for me, I didn't get far enough to actually fix the thing that I wanted to fix. It's not broken, it's just the changeover. I'm forgetting so many of the things that I did on the front end with the unfiltered tea that I forgot to do on this end. It's all just it's a little confusing, it's a little wild. I will get there. I will get there. How's everybody doing? How have you been? How have you been? I'm sorry I was not here last week, and I think I forgot to mention that. We host a Burns night supper here at the house every year. And so I was doing that. I was hosting that and enjoying a truly fantastic evening with friends and family and chosen family. And it was exactly what I needed because I don't know about you, but it has been, I mean, January has been 97 years long. It it's been 97 years long. It has been exhausting. It feels like there are these extreme tragedies and constitutional crises every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And I got real tired, and I was I needed a recharge. I really did. And I'm glad that I took it. And on that note, I noticed yesterday that so many I got on Threads, and I was just kind of scrolling through, and I noticed 2, 3, 4 of my favorite creators all said the same thing, and that they were tired, and they were having a hard time gathering the strength to keep going. And I felt that. I did. And so I want every single one of you first do the like, subscribe, and all of that here, especially with the channel changeover. It's super important to start getting those numbers going and keep the algorithm getting it out there so that we can build our community. The other thing is that once you're all done doing that and we are done here tonight, here's what I want you to do. Take a couple minutes, go to your favorite creators' pages, and just leave them a little comment about what they mean to you. It seems like not a big deal to you, but it's a huge deal, especially when I look around and I see so many of these creators they typically do comedy, they make us laugh, and they are tired, and a lot of them have pivoted to talking about the hard stuff. Um, so do everybody a favor. You will feel good, they will feel good, and who knows, you might get a thumbs up or a little heart from one of your all-time favorite creators. And I think it means it's one of those small, enormous things. If you know what movie I just quoted, welcome, you are my people. If you don't know, we will chat about it at another time. Sorry, it is freezing in the office, so I just had to get the little fire going. Oh no, you can't see it. It's below there. We won't. I am covering my mess. So, um yeah, so that's just the re-entry point. So welcome. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you're sipping on this evening. If you have snacks, what's what do you have the oh my heavens. Guys, there is a full moon. I do not know what else is happening cosmically, but wow, tech and words are just not happening today. They are just not happening. So buckle up because I'm going to trip over my sentences and my words a lot tonight. What are we covering tonight? You might ask. Well, we've got it all tonight. We've got politics, pop culture, and court this evening. So we are going to start with the arrest of Don Lemon and other journalists. He's just the one with the most name recognition, which is why all of the papers and everything are running with it. I apologize. A yawn just tried to sneak up on me. Don't do that, yawn. Don't do that. So we're going to start there. You know, just another day in January with some more constitutional problems because this regime has a real hard time with the founding document of this particular country. So we're going to start there. That's the heaviest thing, I think. Well, everything is kind of midline heavy here. So we're going to start with that. Then we are going to move on and raise a glass to the great and sadly now the late Catherine O'Hara. That one's gonna get me. So make sure you've got your tissues nearby if you are anything like me, because that one got me. That one got me. So we're gonna chat a little bit about that, and then are any of my law nerds here, or are any of my law nerd friends here? If you are, let me know, because I also want to say hi to you in chat when I'm over there. But wow, who's been following this Brandon Banfield case, more commonly referred to as the Au Pair Affair murder trial? Cause that's been a ride. That's been a ride. So if you've not been following it, I'm going to give you as best I can the TLDR. Um, it'll be a bit of an overview. And let me know if I could totally do a separate bonus stream where we just dive into this court case because it has my attention. So if you are interested and you want to come chat with me about that, you let me know and we will make it happen, my friends. We will make it happen. So, is that everything that I wanted to start with? I'm checking my notes. Guys, I've done okay. So, full disclosure, I do not have the timestamps up on last week's show. It's been busy. January has been painful, I think, for everybody. January has also been really heavy. I will get to it. I promise I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna try and get timestamps up on this one, timestamps up on the first one. I get everything else a little more organized, so we're gonna try to do that in the next week or two. I apologize. I'm a one woman show, baby, and sometimes I look at it and honestly, I'm just like, I don't want to, I don't want to. So yeah, but I will try and get to it. But I'm getting better, and I have show notes, and oh, there are new things coming. So stay tuned um if you want the most up to date information. It's usually where I post first. The Aurora H. White on the socials. That's where you can find me. Go check it out there. I generally post first in threads. If I find somewhere else that is happening more often with, I'll let you know. But that's usually the first thing that gets new drops. Anyway, what I want to say is I have been working hard. While you may not have seen me, I have still been working very hard, and there are so many new things coming, guys. New website. Thank you to we're going to shout out the new company even though they are not a sponsor yet. Um because Squarespace made my life so much easier to just transfer things. So I'm super excited. New things are coming. Memberships will be coming. We are going to have all kinds of new things. And I have sample merch coming to me soon. So I am very excited about those things. And I am very excited to share them with you. I apologize. My brain buffered. What I need to do now, I need to roll our appropriate intro for this evening, and then let's get into it. Welcome to Bark a Lot with the Aurora H. White. I'm a legal biller by trade, opinionated law and politics nerd by default. I'm here to break down the political, pop culture, and court headlines that we're all talking about. We value facts, thoughtful discussion, and salty language, so whether you're a fellow law nerd, a political junkie, or just looking for a little hope in today's crazy world, you're in the right place. Tap that subscribe button, pull up your soapbox, and let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So, that was real quiet. I let me know if that was quiet for you. That was super quiet for me. I may need to tech, baby. It is. Sometimes it's your friend, and sometimes it fights you. All right, let us take a quick look at the People magazine article. Why did I go with People? Because honestly, when it comes to legal stuff, sometimes they are that is not what I wanted to do. Sometimes they are the best. I apologize. We're going to try and pull it up, but honestly, guys, the ads over here are just insane. They are insane. So, you know, okay, I'm being told that the volume was all right. So that is good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, chat. What am I doing? I am trying to share my screen. That's what I'm trying to do. All right. I know a lot of you guys have heard about this. We're going to go here. I also have an AP article on this as well. The two are sort of the same. Actually, let me check something. You know what? We're sorry, guys. Streaming is dynamic. EDB is right. Is that an EDB quote? Yep. Mm-hmm. It is. Is she absolutely 100% correct? Yes. Yes, she is. All right, we're gonna try this. The People article is great, but it has way too many ads. Just way too many ads. So I am gonna pull this up. Hi, Mandy. I see you. I see you in the chat. I'm so excited. I have some of my favorite people in chat tonight. I love seeing you guys here. All right. We're gonna try and make this ad go away. Why? And reader mode on this does not work very well. Okay. So let us take a look at this article and then we're going to look at why this is a big fucking deal because that's what it is. And Don Lemon, because he's got the most face recognition, biggest name recognition, he is going to be the guy front and center for all of this. So journalist Don Lemon was released from custody on Friday after he was arrested and hit with federal civil rights charges. This regime. Oh my God. Yeah, federal civil rights charges over his coverage of an anti immigration enforcement protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church. Lemon was arrested overnight in Los Angeles, while another independent journalist and two protest participants were arrested in Minnesota. He struck a confident, defiant tone. Doesn't Don Lemon always have that tone, though? Like, why he is where he is. While speaking to reporters after a court appearance in California, declaring, I will not be silenced. Good. Quote, I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now, Lemon said. I tried to find the video. It's all filled with commentators. So, yeah. Um, In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. The reason that the first, sorry, I have to, nope, I have to soapbox for a minute here. Um, Part of the reason this is such a big deal is the First Amendment of the Constitution includes the freedom of press. Why does it include the freedom of press? Because our founders, despite some of their flaws, felt that one of the number one rights not to infringe on is the right of the governed to hold the governing accountable. So the second you start going after the press, the second you start trying to craft your own narrative, which, let's be real, they've been trying to get this done since 2016, the moment all the other rights start to slip away. If you do not have freedom of press, you do not have any of the other freedoms, really, because freedom of press is designed to hold those in power accountable. Can't buy everything. They can try, and they do. Um, Okay, the arrest brought sharp criticism from news media advocates and civil rights activists, including Reverend Al Sharpton, who said the administration of President Donald Trump is taking a, quote, sledgehammer to, quote, the knees of the First Amendment. Man always does have a way with words, doesn't he? A grand jury in Minnesota indicted Lemon and others on charges of conspiracy. What? I want to look at the charging documents. I do. I want to look at the indictment because uh, conspiracy and interfering with the First Amendment rights of worshipers. Okay, we're going to break this down for a minute because I've seen those videos. There was a protest that went into the church. I'm paraphrasing big time here. They went into this church to call attention to the fact that the pastor of this church was an ICE agent, is an ICE agent. And because all of these ICE agents are running around with masks over their faces, his parishioners might not have known that he was an ICE agent. And that is a very important thing because near as I can tell, I'm secular. I am a very secular person. But near as I can tell, if I were a member of a congregation, if I were a church goer, I would want to know that the pastor, reverend, what have you, who leads that church was a safe person for me. And I feel like it was a good call and not infringing on anybody's civil rights for the protesters to say, hey, FYI, this is an ICE agent. Your pastor is an ICE agent. That's just my opinion. I am willing to, like, if you've got a different opinion, let me know and lay out the facts and the reasons why you have the different opinion because I'm open to discussion on that. That's how I see it. It may just be my knee jerk reaction. I don't know. I could probably be convinced that it was maybe not the best plan or that they could have done it differently. But from everything I saw, it was pretty peaceful. It was just like, hey, FYI, that dude's an ICE agent. So if you're not down with ICE, you're not down with your pastor, which also holds power to account, which I think is a good thing. But that's just me. Back to the article. In court in Los Angeles, Assistant U.S. Attorney Alexander Robbins argued for a $100,000 bond, telling a judge that Lemon, quote, knowingly joined a mob that stormed into a church. I am so tired. I am so tired of these people and their very dramatic language when it's not warranted. And they're very, what's the opposite of dramatic? Like they're very understated language when they need to be more dramatic. But okay. He was released, however, without having to post money and was granted permission to travel to France in June while the case is pending. Because, of course, yeah, they don't think nobody thinks he's a flight risk. Defense attorney Marilyn Bednarski said Lemon plans to plead not guilty and fight the charges in Minnesota, of course. We're not going to cover his leaving CNN. Oh, let's see. Jump down to Attorney General Pam Bondi promoted the arrests on social media. That's what, like, what? What? If you were just in a town and, well, um, we just came out of the Karen Reed trial. Do we remember how we all felt about DA Michael Morrissey and his whole hostage video a few years back? Same. The way this regime uses social media just hurts my brain. Attorney General, quote, make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership in this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely, Bondi said in a video posted online. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we're coming after you. Okay. What about the hypocrisy? The hypocrisy hurts me sometimes. Um, he said he was there as an journalist. I don't even care. I honestly don't care. But if you've got press, because you can be both, I don't care. Press, medics, those people are off limits. It's just okay. Um, it's actually one of the reasons why I think reporters. I think that's one of the reasons why Virginia Hall back in World War II, why her cover was as a reporter. Um, just fun random historical anecdote that my brain popped in there. Okay. The indictment names 9 defendants, including Lemon. It says 2 of them posted their planned action on social media the day before and gave others instructions in a shopping center parking lot the following morning. Okay. I don't really care. Lemon started live streaming and told the audience he was with a group gearing up for a quote resistance operation against federal immigration policies, according to the document. Lemon took steps to maintain operational security by reminding co-conspirators not to disclose the target of their operation, the indictment says, and stepped away so his microphone would not accidentally divulge the planning. None of this I have a problem with. If your goal is to surprise somebody peacefully, I mean, non-violently, yeah, you don't want to tip them off. And these days, you don't know who's listening where. So, okay. I'm jumping ahead. Inside, the defendants shouted slogans, blew whistles after the pastor was about to begin the sermon and gestured in a hostile and aggressive manner, according to prosecutors. So that is AP speak for they flipped them off. I feel like there were a lot of middle fingers being thrown, and that's one way to put it. The pastor and the congregants perceived threats of violence. I we are talking about the same group of people who, in the same breath, will get very upset about, um we're talking about the same group of people that when the tragedy happened to Charlie Kirk, literally anyone who said, "It's complicated because of the things he said." No one should have to experience that. All everybody that I saw had kind things for his children, and at that time for his wife, although she's kind of burned a lot of that goodwill that was there. These are the same people that when they watch two different murders that you can't really describe in any other way. These same people, the left is so intolerant. This left can't handle this. How everybody should have compassion. They're the same ones going, yeah, who cares? Brought them on themselves. What? What? No, no. And anybody that doesn't agree with them is a threat because that's just how a lot of these folks tend to live. This is all my opinion. This is not what is in the article. This is where it gets interesting. This is the part of the article that gets super fascinating. So last week, a magistrate judge rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge Lemon. Basically, the DAs were like, hands off. This is a bad idea. It doesn't match with the law. No. Shortly afterwards, he predicted on his show that the administration would try again. And guess what? Lemon said, quote, "Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. That's not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead. Make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Just do it because I'm not going anywhere." Independent journalist Georgia Fort live streamed the moments before her arrest, telling viewers that agents were at her door and her First Amendment right as a journalist was being diminished. A judge released Fort, Traherne Cruz, and Jamal Lundy on bond, rejecting the Justice Department's attempt to keep them in custody. Not guilty pleas were entered. Fort supporters in the courtroom clapped and whooped. Quote, "It's a sinister turn of events in this country," Fort's attorney and Kevin Rioch, I probably butchered that name, said in court. Jane Kirtley, a media law and ethics expert at the University of Minnesota, said the federal laws cited by the government were not intended to apply to reporters gathering news. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So jumping ahead, just jumping ahead, it would seem as though we can take that down for the moment that the prosecutors could not get judges to sign off on the warrants for the arrests anyway. Because the lower courts, even though we're not seeing it, the lower courts have been holding up the Constitution, the general rule of law. They just have. So nobody wanted to touch this for obvious reasons. In theory, the administration got a grand jury indictment for it. I have questions, if I'm being perfectly honest. I have questions. So that's a thing that happened. Why is this a big deal? Well, this is a big fucking deal because we need independent journalists. We need the press. We need people like that reporter from the UK that was asking Carolyn Levitt questions she didn't like. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs to be held to account. If you're just left to run amok for too long, you're gonna do stupid things. This is not a general, I mean, it's a general human thing, but not a you in specific thing. So, especially when you have an entire administration filled with self I mean, filled with a lot of criminals. Not a lot of charges brought against them, but let's see, we have the president and convicted of 34 felonies, aside from the fact that he's somebody who's not allowed to ever run a charity in the state of New York ever again because he stole money from children with cancer. So, and it just goes on down from there. I mean, the stuff that Christy Nome put in her book, and Matt Gaetz, and now some more of the Epstein files are coming out, and that's been a whole thing. We will not go down that road entirely. Um, that's a whole different stream. We can get there, and I don't like that the DOJ has started doing this judge shopping thing, and I do like that the judges aren't playing ball, but it's leading to the grand jury thing, which is fine. We have grand juries for a reason. Grand juries are great. It's what happens after that, and the information just isn't getting out there. I do I do need to take a few minutes though as to how did we get here? How did we get to the First Amendment being trampled on and stepped on by this administration amongst, well, pretty much the entirety of the Constitution ending up on the floor of the White House where they're all taking turns crumpling it up and trashing it, or trying to. How did we get here? Um I think it's pretty clear where my politics tend to land. It doesn't mean that I encourage living in an echo chamber. I don't. I try and get out of my bubble, all of that. And with that, I'm going to say that a lot of this blame goes to Merrick Garland and the Biden administration. Why? Because they had the ability to actually see a lot of this through. And they were so worried about being seen as political. They were so concerned about how it would look and how it would play on Fox News and with Tucker Carlson and Jesse Waters and a lot of them, that they didn't do what they could have done. Just look at what happened with Jack Smith this week and his testimony, or was it last week? Like, we could have moved forward on a lot of things. There was just so much ground, so much that we knew, and they were all too scared to sit there and be told that they were being political, that nobody did anything about it. I'm sure some of it is a little more complicated, but also I'm fairly certain that there are a whole lot of people that didn't want any of the blowback and didn't want to deal with it. And so they just were like, let's just hope for the best. And worst case scenario, we have 4 more years. And now we're having journalists arrested amongst the 9 million other problems that have all cropped up recently. So sorry about that. That was my rant, because I have to say I am big mad about that. And to be honest, at this point, like, I'm seeing this in a lot of different spaces. People are picking a side. They're talking about, I heard that Martha Stewart came out about this the other, like, I heard Martha Stewart make a comment the other day. And I'm like, Martha Stewart, who has always only been about Martha Stewart. If you've got her coming out and picking a side, we have jumped the shark. It's not politics anymore. This is you are actively being able to sort of see what is coming in the future, whether it be 5 years or, I mean, it was sooner, that'd be great. But you can see where we're going. And they can see it too. The administration, they are freaking out. They are trying to get the raid for the voter rolls. That's presumably for voter suppression because they know they can't win on their merits and they know they can't win on their record. And frankly, they're all a bunch of toddlers who have suddenly ended up, and they are toddlers who have not had a nap or a snack. And they are running the country, well, running this regime in the way that they see fit. And you're seeing more things like this, which are more extreme because they are scared, because the tactical nonviolence is working. Because people like me are like, okay, let's go. I'll just turn my voice up. Let's go. I'll get louder. You want to get cranky? Don Lemon. Okay. You're not gonna shut me up. So, yeah, I could go on. I could go on. I will say that heading into 2026, I I'm gonna use some super I'm gonna get salty with my language here, so if you have little ears, you might wanna or delicate ears, you might wanna cover them up. Because here's the thing, at this point, we January has felt so long. And we are just barely heading into midterm year. The regime is trying to do things like jail journalists and cause other problems. They're not following court orders. They're not following the law. They've got their secret police running around in their masks, causing chaos and harm. And you've got a huge group of people that are sitting around asking for fundraising money so that they can win in November. Well, here's my new vote. I'm usually like this, but more so now. Here's the deal. I don't give a flying fuck what letter is next to your name. I don't care what party you're registered as. Here's my concern. Are you already working in your community? Are you already organizing within your community? Because if you're not doing those two things, you can't do the job in DC. Sorry. Or locally. No. If you are doing those two things and then running at the end of it, guess what? You've got my vote. Because I don't care. I do not care. Do you care about your community? Do you care about your people? Because your people are your constituents? Or do you care about being in power? And it's not about the parties. It's not about the parties. We've gone beyond the parties. That was a much bigger soapbox than I intended to go on. I am sorry. Let's let I'm not even gonna touch the other thing in my note. We can cover that later. We can cover that later. We don't need to go there. Let me do a swoop and let's all just take a breath. Let's take a breath. I need to take a breath. You guys are great. I need to take a breath. That was a big rant. Y'all are great. Which swoop? Which swoop? Doggy swoop. If you've got dogs nearby, this doggy swoop has a bark. Just mute me and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, doggy swoop. Okay, next up. So before we get into the next little bit, one, I'm going to close some pages so that I do not confuse myself because I will. Okay, that is not what I wanted to have up. Now I've even technology. Okay, so I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. I'm just going to take a quick minute to say I am so excited about what I'm anxiously awaiting for. Um, And when it arrives, trust me, I will wear it on stream. You'll be able to see the whole thing. And I'm very excited. I have ordered a hoodie and I've ordered a sticker to see what they look like. And they have the Be Well, Do Good, Bark a Lot on them. So I'm very excited about that. Keep a lookout. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, everything will be changed over. And when it changes over, then if you want to support the channel and support this community, things like memberships will be available. As those are not available yet, please let me know what you want to see in memberships and things like that. Let me know what you're interested in. And that way, before they even launch, you get a say and I get to work it into the system because I want us to have a community here. So that's my little break there. I am going to swoop again. I need to build. I need to build a swoop. We're gonna do squirrel swoop, and then let us brace ourselves. We are going to have a little farewell to one of the greatest actresses of her time. Okay. So I do have an article pulled up here, but here's the thing. I don't even think we need it. I looked for some good videos, but copyright is a thing, and a lot of the videos I saw, I don't think I can use for copyright issues, so that's why I'm being cautious. Better safe than sorry. But I myself am sipping on some wine this evening because of the iconic fruit wine incident of Schitt's Creek. If you watch Sh guys, I've had like 4 sips of this evening, and cannot speak. It is Aurora, why do you do a live stream if you have a problem with language sometimes? I don't know, because it's fun and I like hanging out with chat. Don't know. Whatever. Here we are. So here's my question for you, chat. In the comments, if you're on replay crew, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. I know I myself am often replay crew on some of my favorite creators' live streams. Replay is amazing. So thank you. Leave your answer in the comments if you are not already in chat. But chat, my friends, what is your favorite Catherine O'Hara role? And or when did she walk onto the screen and you went, oh my God, she's amazing? I think for most people, for a lot of folks my age, Home Alone. Home Alone is where she walked onto that screen, and I was like, "Oh my god. She's amazing. She's hilarious and funny." And then I don't know if I saw Beetlejuice. I don't think I saw Beetlejuice before I saw Home Alone. I feel like I would remember that. So I think for me, it was Home Alone, and then while I had no idea it was the same person, Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas is obviously one of my all-time favorite characters. If you know me, you know my super famous Sally costume, that we made years ago. I think this year is it's time to bring it back. But what is your favorite Catherine O'Hara role? I know there are a lot of people who know her from all the Christopher Guest mockumentaries, the oh god, the Macaulay Culkin post yesterday, if you did not see his post to her on Threads, I warn you, grab a box of tissues before you read it because I can't even tell you about it. I will start to cry. Um, but it's so funny. Wow, sorry, buffered buffered in real time. I was looking at my notes and I was reading ahead and not yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um, the internet I mean, obviously, the internet yesterday was just filled with everybody giving her the most amazing praise and sharing amazing stories. I don't think I've heard there's some people where it's like they were a great person, but you have heard some stories of their bad days or something like that. She just doesn't have that. And maybe it's just that she has a really good publicist, but I don't think so. I think there are some people who are just genuinely good people, and she seemed to be one of those. Um, and it's for me, I find it Mandy coming in with Beetlejuice 1000%. I mean, is it wrong that I kind of hope that I so if you know me, I'm a little hippy dippy woo woo. I'm a little I see dead people at times. Don't worry, I've been checked out. If you believe it, great. If you don't believe it, I don't really care. It's I'm respectful and that's how we go. This is somebody that if she appeared um just as her character from Beetlejuice, that would be absolutely fantastic for me. I, she's never gonna try and meet somebody she does not know. That's not a thing. But I can hope, right? I can hope. Um, and yeah, it's that role was so can I just say that I'm glad that they did Beetlejuice before we lost her because now we get it. Now we get two different versions of that amazing character. Obviously, the great and fantastic Moira Rose, um, Cookie, gotta love Cookie. Yes. You just you just wake up to Dale. If that just happens, if I'm just having a party in my house and everybody starts singing that, she's getting the credit. She is absolutely getting the credit. Um, and so okay, this also leads me to something that I was thinking about. I texted Mandy actually last night because celebrity is such a funny thing, right? And the parasocial relationship and things like that, where I didn't know her personally. There's, I didn't know Robin Williams personally. I didn't know Anthony Bourdain personally, but they're in your home so much and in so many different ways that we feel like we know a lot of these celebrities. And it can come with some negative things. It can come with a lot of negative things because we assume we know things that we can't possibly know. Um, and so it can lead to some really bad reactions with these people. But it's funny because for some people, like Betty White is one. I love Betty White. When she passed away, it was like, oh, that sucks. But It was it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. There was no grief attached to it for me. But it's interesting to me when we lost Robin Williams, when we lost Anthony Bourdain, and I know those are different tragedies as well, but I like And losing Catherine O'Hara, I don't know, it feels different to me, like, for whatever reason that I cannot explain, even though they are all strangers, it there is more of a touch of grief, and I don't know what that is. It's maybe all of them were on my coffee list. If hold the phone, Aurora. Not everybody knows you. So, my coffee list, if you know me, you know. If you don't know, I'm going to tell you. My coffee list is a list of people that are celebrities or famous or that they're celebrities in my mind, even if they're not like celebrities. And these are people that, however I've come across them, they strike me as an interesting human that I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with. That I don't necessarily like, I wouldn't have necessarily asked Catherine O'Hara about her career if we sat down to talk. I would be curious as to um her life. You know, what were her hobbies? What did she do on the side? The People magazine article says that um she was super proud of being a mom and taking care of people. And so I'd ask her about, you know, what was it like being on the PTA and also being famous? You know, those are the kind of questions that I would ask that aren't necessarily about the career, right? So even though I know her as a famous actress, I'm probably explaining this very badly. But even though I know her as a famous actress or with Anthony Bourdain, I mean, Catherine O'Hara, Anthony Bourdain, both of them have affected who I am as a person f- from the art and their work that they did. So there's that too. Um, and I just lost the thought. But these are people that I would want to talk about life, universe, and everything with them, as opposed to it being an interview about their career, if that makes sense. I just think that they would be fascinating humans. And there's a lot of people I have on my coffee list. I am not fans of their work, but they are on my coffee list because they seem like interesting people. I don't know. It's something that comes up for me a lot. I think about the notion of celebrity a lot. And when we lose somebody like Catherine O'Hara and it hurts, I kind of got surprised by it because she's a stranger to me. But it also says something about the work that she did, that somebody who's a complete stranger can make an impact on countless other people. Which I guess before we move on, I feel like that's actually a good lesson for us, that you never know how your work can affect somebody else. You just never know. Um, Mandy says, for me, there are some performers where I feel like I experience the core of them through their performances, whether they're playing a ridiculous character or a heart wrenching one. Yes. Or, oh, or like, Stockard Channing, right? I've been a fan of Stockard Channing since I was 5 years old and dreaming of playing Rizzo. There's a lot to unpack there, we won't do it tonight. Um, and I happened to be working at Whole Foods in Maine on one particular day when she came into the store. And I think I was texting Mandy about this actually in and around when it happened. But my fear with her coming in, she's usually in disguise, and usually even if people catch it, they leave her alone because respect. Don't Pro tip, do not fuck with people when they are trying to shop for frozen peas and toilet paper. I don't care how famous they are. I don't care how big a fan you are. Like, leave them alone. That is not the time. But I had this because she's usually in disguise, and this time she wasn't. I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, is she the kind of personality that I think she is?" I feel like maybe. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely, and I was like, "Phew." No, I did not go talk to her. No, I did not insert myself in that for all of the reasons that I just mentioned. Um, Mandy says a true part of them comes through and it's like they become part of my family. And then almost because I don't know them, the loss is hard to process. That I feel that. I feel that. And yeah, I get like Anthony Bourdain, I know Robin Williams hit you, Mandy, as well. Robin Williams hit me, but I can tell that story on like a members only live or something later for why I was able to get through the Robin Williams one so quick. Anthony Bourdain and Catherine O'Hara, the more I think about it, but Anthony Bourdain is like I got handed his book and it literally changed the course of my life. And there are so many times when I go back to words of wisdom or advice that he put out there for the world that meant something to me. And Catherine O'Hara and her work, it's very much the same. She showed somebody like me that being funny is it's harder than being dramatic. And a lot of actors can do serious, hard drama. Not everybody can act comedy the way Catherine O'Hara was able to act comedy, because what's wild about her comic genius is that everything she played, she had to play it as though it was going to be this Oscar, Martin Scorsese kind of film, and yet she's there with wild hair going, "Deo, Deo." Um, and the only way it works is if she's playing it that straight and serious, right? The entire character of Moira Rose wouldn't work if she was looking at the camera and giving us a little tongue in cheek. But there's a gentleness, there's something that just comes through the screen. So as I move on, before I swoop, you never know whose lives you touch. You never know what words um, come across. And so, with that, be kind to everyone. Treat everyone with grace and kindness, even when it's really hard. This regime is going to test me on that end, but and you never know if you've impacted somebody, because I don't think Betty White, Bourdain, and Betty White was like 99, but I don't think Catherine O'Hara has truly any concept. I don't think anybody can have that kind of a concept of just how beloved she was to so much of the world and how much joy she brought to so many people. Okay. I need to swoop before I start leaking, because that's a thing. All right. Doggy swoop. Mute if your animals are nearby. We'll be right back. Okay. Court. Have y'all been following this Brendan Banfield trial? Manny, I know you're in the same state. Um, I don't know what your local papers are covering this. Y- You guys know me. I'm a law nerd. I love hanging out in the Emily D. Baker chat. And so I have been listening to this all week. I don't think I've ever put court on. Well, I don't think I've ever put an EDB stream on at 1.75 speed, and it was not fast enough. It was when she was talking, but not while the attorneys were talking. Um, but anyway, I started watching. I got fascinated in this case because it's in the same courtroom as the Deputy Heard trial. It is the same judge as the Deputy Heard trial, Judge Penny Ascarati. Love her. She is a model for judges which honestly, after the shit show that was the Karen Reed trial and Judge Cannone, I don't have a lot of warm feelings of Judge Cannone's judicial demeanor. Judge A has a much better judicial demeanor. Um, Mandy says, and yet I know nothing. Okay. Okay. Well, let I'm going to try and sum this up for you. I will probably fail. If we want to do a deeper TLDR, let me know. I know a lot of folks have liked my TLDR of like condensing the court case into a single stream. I do owe you a bonus stream. So let me know if you want me to do the full TLDR of this, and I will do my level best to try to put this into um a basic summary. I'm going to try and do the shortest TLDR there is here. Bear with me. It's complicated because the allegations alone are complicated. Basically, the defendant Brendan Banfield allegedly had an affair with his au pair, which is a form of nanny. And his Banfield and his au pair set up his wife and another guy that they allegedly catfished online to show up to the house for a supposed consensual consensual encounter that was non-consensual in um appearance for they got on FetLife and basically catfished this guy to enact a particular fantasy. That does not sound fun to me on any level, but to each their own. Um, and this woman, so Brendan Banfield's wife in this encounter ends up being stabbed 7 times in the neck. And his version, Banfield's version of the story is that no, I'm not even gonna try because it was so complicated. The Commonwealth's version of the story is that Banfield and the au pair got together, decided that they were gonna be together if they could just, get the wife out of the way because yes, guys, divorce is hard. This is borrowing trouble in 7 different ways that you do not need. But apparently, there was that. So, according to the Commonwealth, they got together, they catfished this guy. 2 people end up deceased. Banfield's wife, Christine Banfield, and this other dude, Joe Ryan, who was seemingly just the wrong guy who took the wrong message on the wrong website on the wrong day. And this ends up in court because they got the au pair for the prosecution got the au pair first, and she stuck to the original story for a really long time. And then then the Commonwealth of Virginia arrested Brandon Banfield and the au pair, who is like 15 plus years Banfield's junior, flipped immediately. Took the sweetest of the sweetheart deals that she was offered by the Commonwealth of Virginia. It was like, yep, I'll tell my story. You use your evidence, all of that. So I got sucked into this trial because that is one heck of a storyline, and I knew nothing about it going into it. And I was like, there's no way it's this crazy. I should know by now that anytime I walk into a into watching a court proceeding with, there's no way it's this crazy, the court, the courtroom, whatever that case is, will be like, hold my beer. And it just gets wild. So it was already kind of crazy. Now, I have to be honest, I don't think the Commonwealth proved their case in their case in chief. I don't think they did. I think if the Commonwealth ran their case in chief and the defense said, that's it, nothing, I think this dude walks. That is not what happened. That is not what happened. Because here's the thing. This defendant is one of those defendants that seems to think he's the smartest guy in the room, and they tend to like to talk. This is your however time anytime this comes up, this is me reminding you, you have the right at all times to shut the fuck up. You should always take the opportunity to shut the fuck up. Because when you don't, especially when you think you know more than everybody else in the room, basically all that happens, which is what happened to this guy, in my opinion, is he grabbed a shovel and started digging. And then he kept digging. And then he went and got himself a backhoe to dig even deeper. It was at least Alex Murdaugh had the decency to cry or at least act like he was crying on the stand when he took the stand. Brendan Banfield tried not to smirk when they were going over how the affair started, and there were other awkward smirks at points that I cannot even remotely imagine smirking at. The defense attorney was super confusing. I do appreciate some tradition. The defense attorney could not remember to turn on his mic ever at all. And I really thought Judge A was going to say, what if anything is not a cure-all to him, which would have just brought it all back. There was also accusations of the police department not turning things over or not providing things to the prosecution. The police department was involved. Now, I am going to direct everybody to Lon Lumber's stream from last night because he does a little bit of a deep dive into the original prosecutor on this case and the police issue. The defense was not wrong, but also was not right in this case with this stuff. So there are some things to be dealt with. The jury has the case now. I got completely sucked into this. I will warn you if you go back and watch it, unless you're watching with one of the amazing attorneys that I tend to follow, you're gonna need to put the defense attorney on 2x speed if you have YouTube Premium. Like you're just going to need to. His processing was way too slow. Way too slow. I am fascinated to see how the jury decides this. The jury has a case. They've been deliberating. If we do a deep dive, if you want me to do a deep dive, I learned something last night while I was in the Law and Lumber chat. Apparently, Fairfax County, Virginia provides all of the publicly available evidence on their website, and they make it really easy to find. So the super gross 14-page letters and those sorts of things that the Commonwealth referenced in the case, we can look at them. Like, we can actually pull them up and look at them. And the jury is in the process of doing that right now. Do I think the jury is going to come back on Monday? Yes. Do I think it's going to be guilty verdict? I do. Because I don't think any other testimony mattered. I could be wrong. The evidence was there enough that when the defendant took the stand, for me, he closed some of the loops that the Commonwealth had left open. So some of the things where I could see reasonable doubt, this defendant removed all doubt, which was a talent. It was a talent. But if we want to do a full stream devoted to the TLDR of this case, and we want to do a little look-see at the evidence, I know where to find it. And unlike Massachusetts, that is super difficult to get into. Massachusetts makes getting public records next to impossible unless you can just walk down to the courthouse. Um, but it seems like Fairfax County, Virginia makes it real easy, and I'm real curious. So, if you want to ride with me on that, let me know because I will dive into that. We will take a look at it and we will see. I think the my prediction, I think the jury will be back Monday, maybe morning, probably afternoon. Am I going to be wrong? Probably. I'm often wrong about these things. I'm going with Monday afternoon guilty verdict. I will be kind of surprised if it's anything. I won't be surprised if it's a different day. I will be surprised if it's any sort of a different verdict. But who knows? That's why we have a jury system. So, that that is our politics, pop culture, and court week because we had it all, baby. We had it all. I'm gonna do doggy swoop. Sorry, I didn't warn you much that time. We have one that's good. I just haven't uploaded it here yet. All right, chat. Any bets on how fiery this week will bet? Oh, do we want to cover some of the Epstein stuff that has dropped as well? That's really heavy. I got to be honest. I am being really gentle with myself on that because I know it's going to make me big mad. So, let me know. Let me know if that is tops of your list. Let me know if there are other things that you are interested in. Let me know if there are other court cases that you're interested in as well. I also followed the Uvalde case, which was a whole different thing. And if anybody's got a line on any of the court cases that are happening involving our shockingly terrible current DOJ, and others, let me know because, well, court relaxes me. I know, it's weird. There's a reason I work at a law firm. I am not a legal assistant. I'm not an attorney. I keep everybody. I work in my own little world. They can do them. Um, but yeah, let me know. Let me know what we want to cover. I feel like the world is just on fire and we're hanging in there as best we can. Um Also, well, and I tonight, you know how I'm going to do self-care, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to watch Traders this weekend. I have to catch up. I have to catch up on Traders this weekend. Guys, it's getting crazy. It always does. Do we think Lisa Rinna's going to pull it off? There was shockingly no spoilers in that. If you know, you know, and if you're not watching Traders or you're earlier, you only have some idea. I don't know how I did that. We're gonna take the win, but I'm gonna find out if Lisa Rinna was able to pull this off. So, and you know, here's another option, guys. If we need a night of just hanging out and having everything be light, we can do that too. We can do that too. Anyway, thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for Some of my all-time favorites, Miss Mandy, being in the chat tonight. I cannot tell you how happy that makes me. So much good stuff coming our way. I thank you. Thank you for your patience with me last week. We should be able to just ride for a while. March and May are the 2 months that I foresee possibly, having to skip a stream, move a stream, but, go follow me on the socials. Please subscribe to this new channel. Um, I know I have to update a few things on that to really push that, but yeah, you guys truly are the best. Thank you so much. I love doing this. I love hanging out with everybody. I love this as the thing that I get to do on the weekends and, all of that, and I love the community that we are building. I'm really, really happy with all of that. You guys are amazing. I need to find my outro here, so that I can let y'all get on with your Saturday evening. Stay warm if you are in most of the United States. Um, uh, my heart goes out to the Carolinas that are getting snow that we can deal with and they cannot. So my love goes out to the nation because the weather is not helping any of us these days. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. As always, be well, do good, and remember to bark a lot. I will see you guys all on the next one. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bark a Lot. Follow me on Threads and Insta at the Aurora H. White. That's where I post most frequently between shows. Hit that like button, connect with us, and remember to bark a lot. We will see you next time.